Hello everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil. It was meant to be a Ganesh Puja celebration. But the two heads of the executive and the other of judiciary coming for a festivity has raised several questions. The opposition says it's uncomfortable messaging in this visit of the Prime Minister to the Chief Justice of India's residence last night. The BJP says Prime Ministers in the past have held iftar parties, then why should a joint celebration of a festival raise questions on independence of judiciary? First up, the political face-off, and then I bring in two legal eagles of India.
आज ये परिस्थिति है कि विपक्ष को ये भी नहीं सहन होता कि हम सब मिलजुल कर ईश्वर की पूजा कर सके। मैं घोर निंदा करता हूं विपक्षी पार्टी, विपक्षी नेताओं की, जिन्होंने भारत की आस्था के ऊपर आज टिप्पणी की है। जब मनमोहन सिंह जी देश के प्रधानमंत्री थे और उस समय के चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया उसमें गए इफ्तार पार्टी में, उससे किसी को कोई आपत्ति नहीं है।
I have great respect for the present Chief Justice, but I was really surprised when I saw this clip that was going viral. And I have some issues on principle. No public functionary, whoever it may be, especially those who hold the highest office in the country, whether it's the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, the Chief Justice of India, whoever, should not publicize a private event.
Joining me first on the show is Mukul Roht, former Attorney General of India and Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. Mr. Roht, thank you for speaking to NDTV. The Constitution calls for division of power between the executive and the judiciary. Do you think the point which is being made by the opposition is that a visit of this nature by the Prime Minister to the Chief Justice's residence actually takes us in that realm of suspicion, because Caesar's wife should be above suspicion?
I think it is absolutely unfounded, Maria. If you feel or somebody feels that two persons who are at heads of their different organizations should never ever meet, and that is the only way you will have independence of the judiciary, then I am sorry, it's completely wrong. There are a large number of functions, in which a lot of dignitaries are invited, including the judiciary, the government, the bureaucrats, even industrialists. You can't live in an ivory tower. Nobody can live in an isolation. So as I said on the other channel, the President of India hosts dinners for retiring judges, for incoming judges. I mean, as an Attorney General, I have attended dinners hosted by judges, by Chief Justice, by Prime Minister. So these are certain measures of, kind of being civil and living in a civil society. The fact that you meet people, how does it detract from the fact that, you will maintain your own independence? I mean, do you think that the Chief Justice or a judge who meets a minister or a chief minister or a prime minister at any function will suddenly start, favoring them? That's certainly not correct. And also, Maria, this is not a secret midnight kind of a meeting where eyebrows can be raised or suspicion can be mounted. I mean, if somebody invites somebody, including the highest officials or highest functionaries, for a puja, how can that detract from independence of the judiciary, separation of powers? I don't know why all this is being, it's a mountain out of a molehill for nothing, according to me.
Okay, Mr. Roht, one of the views of the opposition is that celebrations of Ganpati Puja was happening all over the country, and of course it was happening in several parts of Delhi as well. So the Prime Minister could have participated in festivities at some other occasion, at some other location, maybe, Maharashtra Southern.
I mean, is there anything unconstitutional or illegal in accepting an invitation? I mean, as I told you, there are dinners and functions of all kinds of situations, as I've indicated, where judges go, the Prime Minister hosts, the President of India hosts, etc., etc. So, I mean, what's the big deal about it? And why should anybody say that no, this should not have been at the residence of the Chief Justice, it should have been in Maharashtra? So then why? I mean, why is somebody else concerned how it is happening unless it is completely illegal? There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, so you are saying, sir, that there's nothing illegal in this movement, of course, or gathering or this meeting.
Maria, the point is, one cannot start denigrating people. You can't start denigrating people just because somebody has invited somebody for a puja. Come on. What is the great thing which is being discussed? Or what is the great thing which was being, happening? I can understand a case where, let's say, a court, whichever court, is hearing a complaint, of a particular nature against, say, a chief minister or another minister, etc. And in the evening, the same people, that is the court concerned and the litigant, meet somewhere. I can still understand that, why should this be? Why? It's not a coincidence. But look at this. It's not as if that the Prime Minister is being subject to some great scrutiny or a case by the Chief Justice's court today, tomorrow, and in that light, people are adding 2+2. It's none of that situation at all. So why should there be considered as smoke without a fire? Please.
Okay, sir. So you say that this isn't in the domain of propriety. There's nothing improper about it. There's nothing unethical about it. As you said, there's nothing unconstitutional or illegal about it. But given the political furor that we are seeing, do you think it's okay because this entire, puja or festivity is played out in full public view? It wasn't really, some hidden camera, capturing it surreptitiously.
Exactly. So, I mean, it is obvious the Chief Justice did not sit in court yesterday afternoon. It was obvious that he had some personal routine or a personal court. I mean, it was not hidden, etc., etc. So, why should anybody, raise, as I said, an issue of smoke without fire? You talked about a political furor. In this country, there is a political furor on everything. I mean, every day you read about this, that, or the other, who made this statement, why did Rahul Gandhi make that statement in America, why did he make statement here? Every day, I think media is full of people attacking people on statements only. I mean, I think, it's not proper to start dissecting every person's life from minute to minute, what he should do. Tomorrow you can say what he should eat, what he should not eat, what he should do. He should have an evening walk, he should not walk. I mean, come on. Let people live here. People also have a right to have some private time also. What is there in this?
All right, Mukul Roht there saying that there's nothing unconstitutional or illegal about it, then why have this debate at all? Thank you so much for sharing your views, sir. Joining me now is a senior advocate of the Supreme Court and former Rajya Sabha MP, Mr. Mahesh J Milani. Mr. J Milani, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. Of course, this puja, it was supposed to be seen as a puja, but it has generated a controversy with a lot of opposition. In fact, the opposition saying that it is sending some kind of an uncomfortable message. And the point being made by the opposition parties, Mr. J Milani, is that should custodians of constitution meet politicians in such manner?
So these meetings means what? A prime minister comes on an invitation to do a Ganesh Aarti and take the deity's blessings, right? And then goes away. It's just taking blessings and nothing more than that. And there's no detailed conversation. It's a courtesy call and a religious occasion. What is to be read into that What are the optics on that unless you have jaundiced spectacles?
So you are of the opinion that there is nothing wrong in this optics. So let me take that argument which is being made by opposition, the criticism, a little ahead. It says that independence of any institution shall not be only theoretical but visible as well. So in terms of optics, the opposition parties are of the view, Mr. J Milani, that this is bad optics.
Well, you know, again, I said it is their view. They may think it's bad optics, but the optics being that there's a wrong messaging going on in the mind of people, right? It's in the mind of people like them. The public at large would not view this with any disfavor. And nobody is that naive or gullible to believe that a courtesy visit for receiving blessings, divine blessings, right, is going to in any manner, right, in any way influence one or the other of the two parties involved in that courtesy call. Nobody is going to believe that, right? The men who man our institutions are not that brittle. Perhaps the opposition and those who are the carping critics of this event, right, are of that mindset. Perhaps they are judging this whole event by their own yardstick.
So if you are saying that, opposition perhaps is being a compulsive contrarian, Mr. J Milani, but when has it been, in the past particularly, that members of judiciary and politicians have interacted on occasions like these?
Many times. I have no doubt at weddings, at other functions, maybe on Diwali, at iftar parties, we know that for sure. What is wrong? There is no prohibition. You are suddenly bringing up a question of propriety and optics, right? There's nothing wrong with it. Nobody complained. I mean, the loudest screamer today, the shrillest voice today, is Indira Jaising in 2009 when the iftar party happened, right? And not only the then Chief Justice of India, but more judges were present at that iftar party. She was the ASG at that time. There was a question of propriety. She was an officer of the court. I never heard these loud, shrill voices come. She suddenly found a voice. Strange.
So do you see this as a needless controversy? Or would you say that it is really, perhaps okay to have this kind of public image?
I think it's completely innocuous. It's a storm in the teacup. It's a mountain out of a molehill made by people who are bereft of any better issues, right? It doesn't impinge on the separation of powers at all. It doesn't undermine that concept at all, right? The messaging is not wrong, according to me. It doesn't put any suspicion in people's minds, except those who are lousy thinkers. According to me, it's innocuous. There is nothing wrong with it. It hasn't been complained about in the past. And listen, it is better to have your relationships out in the open than to indulge in skullduggery and secrecy and subvert the judiciary in private. That is far more suspicious.
All right, Mahesh J Milani there sharing his views on what is now being called by, legal eagles of India, a needless controversy which has started with that visit of the Prime Minister to Chief Justice of India's residence last evening. Shifting focus to a very grim news which came in earlier today. Veteran left leader and CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury passed away this afternoon. He was 72 years of age and was undergoing treatment for respiratory ailment at All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi. Here's a look at the life and times of Mr. Yechury.
A pragmatic communist, an intellectual giant, a builder of coalitions with friends across political lines. The CPM's most well-known face for several decades, Sitaram Yechury was a quintessential politician who rose from the post of University Union President to the CPM's General Secretary. His speeches in Parliament, peppered with wit, sarcasm and historical references, were a treat to watch.
I'm born in a Hindu traditional family, had my Ved part done and my thread ceremony done at the age of 11. Having studied all the Vedas, then you say with a name like Sitaram, with all the Vedas, why have you landed up as a communist? I've landed up as a communist because I've studied all of them.
Yechury joined the Students' Federation of India in 1974, and a year later, he became a member of the Communist Party of India, Marxist. He was elected the president of the famed JNU Students' Union thrice in the late 70s. Along with Prakash Karat, Yechury is credited to have played a key role in establishing a strong leftist presence at the JNU that holds till date. In 1975, while still a student at JNU, he was arrested during the emergency. A veteran of many political battles, Yechury's most famous probable is against Indira Gandhi. After the emergency, the JNU Students' Union, led by Sitaram Yechury, forced Indira Gandhi to resign as a chancellor of the university. A master of many languages, Yechury would talk to his party comrades in different languages, in Bengali to Jyoti Basu, in Telugu to M. Basavapunaya, in Tamil to EMS Nambudripad, and in Hindi to Harkishan Singh Surjeet. Yechury is known for continuing the coalition-building legacy of former General Secretary and his mentor Harkishan Singh Surjeet. He collaborated with P. Chidambaram to draft the Common Minimum Programme for the United Front government in 1996 and played a key role in the coalition-building efforts during the formation of the United Progressive Alliance government in 2004. The left saw its best and worst times under Yechury. From 60 seats that propelled the UPA to power in 2004 to a near decimation now. Political ups and downs aside, Comrade Yechury remained committed to secularism and democracy and steadfastly opposed communalism and Hindutva politics till his last breath. With Mohammad Asim, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Let me bring in Pavan Verma, someone who studied with Comrade Yechury in St. Stephen's College in the national capital and has had several fond memories with him. Mr. Verma, of course, this is a very tough time for his friends and family. As someone who studied with him in St. Stephen's College and also, traveled several miles with him in his political journey, what's your best memory of Comrade Yechury?
We were in contemporaries in college, although pursuing different subjects. We were also together in Parliament later. I think Sitaram was the most amiable, reasonable, balanced, accessible communist leader I have ever met. He was actually a consensus maker. He never adopted a confrontationist style except on matters of non-negotiable ideology. That was his lovable trait. And he had a simplicity about it right from his college days, where he dressed simply, lived simply, smoked Charminar incessantly, and was the kind of dedicated, grassrooted, educated communist, CPI committed member, who was a great asset to public life. I used to see him in Parliament when I was there, and we were friends, and we used to chat. But Sitaram Yechury always came out as a consensus builder or as one who was seeking to find a solution rather than an impasse. And this became apparent on many occasions. There was one occasion, Maria, where I approached him at the time when Dr. Karan Singh was a very likely possibility for the President of India.
and a very good choice also. But Prakash Karat, his colleague in the CPIM, had put his foot down on the fact that he came from a royal lineage, which Dr. Karan Singh had renounced long ago when he joined democratic politics under the tutelage of Jawaharlal Nehru. So I called Sitaram. And Sitaram said, I absolutely agree with you. This should not be held against him. But he said that it's difficult to reason with perhaps the party position or Mr. Prakash Karat. So he was always open to finding the right solution. I can't tell you what a great loss it is. Not only for me personally, uh, but for the country's public life.
Yes, Mr. Verma, certainly just about every politician that I've spoken to has great memories and has some great words for Comrade Yechury. Of course, you know, it's truly an end of an era. But what next for left politics? That's also the big question. But Mr. Verma, you know, what according to you was the biggest high of Sitaram Yechury's career?
You see, he was a student. After his graduation from St. Stephen's, he went to jail. He emerged as a genuinely popular leader in student politics. And he was a lifelong member of the CPIM. Uh, in my view, the highlight of his political career, if you ask me, was his term as the General Secretary of the CPIM. For once, then, the party had a face that was not charging at windmills, which has definitely had its principles, was open to conversation, dialogue, talks. And I think that 10 years or whatever of his period of life was his great charm. And by the way, he was genuinely uh, revered or liked very much by the party cadre. He carried them. I mean, when he became a Rajya Sabha MP, he was allotted a house on Firoz Shah Road. He didn't live there. He lived in with his wife and family in their small house in Vasant Kunj and used his official residence for the help of party workers and for his office. I mean, he was a man completely oblivious to ostentation. And that was his main appeal. I mean, I could go to Sitaram and talk to him about anything, from a good joke to poetry to politics, to colleagues to remembrances, and he always had a witty and sharp response.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Mr. Verma. Let me bring in someone who has also worked with Mr. Yechury within the party, within CPIM, the party that he served for so many decades. M.A. Baby is joining us now. Mr. Baby, of course, you and Mr. Yechury have been friends, also fellow members of the Politburo of the CPIM. What, according to you, defined Sitaram Yechury? And what are your memories from his Rajya Sabha days?
To clearly communicate, whether it is by writing or by speaking, it was well known. Perhaps you would know that in one of the important English newspapers, the Hindustan Times, he used to handle a weekly column, left hand right, which I think he continuously handled for almost 4 or 5 years, if not more. So he was a very effective leader from among the new generation of Communist Party leaders. Prakash Karat, who was General Secretary before him, he also played an important role in training Sitaram Yechury. So though we were contemporaries in the student movement, due to his deep knowledge about many issues, not only related to the ideological issues related to the communist movement, he was a versatile genius. He used to enjoy literature, film, music, sports. He himself was a tennis player. Perhaps it would be news to you that, in the Rafi Marg, there is UNI Center. and they have an open badminton court. They used to have, I don't know, now it is there. So in the 80s and 90s, we used to play badminton in early hours, whether it is very, very cold winter or summer.
Okay, what next for the left ideology and the left movement in India? Of course, the passing away of, Mr. Yechury has left a huge vacuum in the space of left politics and, of course, of the entire Indian politics, if we were to say that.
Yeah. You see, Comrade Sitaram left us when the Indian political scene is confronted with many challenges. The most important challenge is that certain political forces bend upon corroding the constitutional values such as secularism, democracy, social justice, social progress, protection of the downtrodden and marginalized sections of society. Comrade Sitaram was immensely contributing towards harnessing the democratic and progressive forces in a broad struggle against these forces of darkness. So his absence would be an irreparable loss, a huge vacuum. But we have to take the movement forward. There are comrades like Prakash Karat, Bunda Karat, and many comrades from the new generation. We have to put together our energy and remembering the great tradition developed by Comrade Sitaram, we have to carry on the struggle for the rights of the democratic and progressive forces and also the livelihood issues of the toiling masses. We are planning the 24th Congress of CPIM. In fact, it is from the midst of the preparation that Sitaram left us. So our primary focus would be preparing the party for holding the 24th Party Congress successfully. 24th Party Congress will discuss how the challenges before the development of the independent strength of the party, how left and democratic forces can be further strengthened, how the political struggle can be dovetailed with the livelihood struggles of the common masses.
All right, Mr. Baby, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Of course, one of the most affable politicians of India and also known as a consensus builder is no more. There's an obituary that is there up on ndtv.com. Do read that. And remember the life and times of Sitaram Yechury. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.